Embarking on a journey, whether for adventure or necessity, often fills us with excitement and anticipation. However, the road less traveled sometimes leads to encounters beyond the realm of the ordinary. These true traveling horror stories serve as chilling reminders of the eerie and inexplicable events that can unfold when we venture into the unknown. From vanishing hitchhikers to haunted hotel rooms, these tales are bound to send shivers down your spine and make you think twice before hitting the road. Join us as we delve into the unsettling world of travel, where the line between reality and the supernatural becomes blurred, and the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary. Today we will talk about 7 disturbing true traveling horror stories. So before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. 1. The Vanishing Hitchhiker. It was a dark and stormy night as Jake drove along the desolate highway, the rain pounding against the windshield in a relentless torrent. As he rounded a bend in the road, he spotted a figure standing by the side of the highway, a young woman drenched to the bone, her thumb extended in a silent plea for a ride. Feeling a pang of sympathy, Jake pulled over and rolled down the window, offering the woman a lift to the nearest town. She climbed into the back seat without a word, her face obscured by the hood of her rain-soaked jacket. As they drove on in silence, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about the woman. Her presence seemed to cast a pall over the car, and an icy chill seemed to fill the air. Shaken by the encounter, Jake drove on in silence, his thoughts consumed by the strange encounter. But when he reached the end of the highway, he glanced in the rearview mirror and saw nothing but an empty back seat. 2. The Abandoned Motel. Tired and weary from a long day of driving, Sarah pulled off the highway and into the parking lot of a rundown motel, its neon sign flickering ominously in the darkness. Ignoring the sinking feeling in her gut, she stepped out of her car and approached the front desk, where a weary-looking clerk greeted her with a forced smile. Ignoring the clerk's warnings of strange happenings and unexplained disappearances, Sarah checked into her room and collapsed onto the bed, exhaustion washing over her in waves. But as she drifted off to sleep, she was plagued by strange dreams, a feeling of being watched, of unseen eyes following her every move. Awakening in a cold sweat, Sarah glanced around the room, her heart pounding in her chest. That's when she noticed the figure standing in the corner, a shadowy silhouette, its features obscured by the darkness. With a scream of terror, Sarah bolted from the room, fleeing into the night with nothing but her fear to guide her. As she reached her car and peeled out of the parking lot, she glanced back at the motel, only to find it empty, its doors locked and windows dark. 3. The Haunted Train. As the train rumbled down the tracks, Mark settled into his seat, eager to begin his journey to the next stop on his cross-country adventure. But as the miles passed by, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about the train, a sense of unease that seemed to grow with each passing moment. Suddenly, the lights flickered and went out, plunging the train into darkness. Panic swept through the car as passengers cried out in fear, their voices drowned out by the sound of the train's brakes screeching to a halt. When the lights came back on, Mark found himself alone in the car, the other passengers gone without a trace. Confused and disoriented, he stumbled through the empty corridors, searching for any sign of life. But as he reached the end of the train, he was met with a sight that chilled him to the bone. A ghostly figure standing on the tracks, its eyes fixed on him with an intensity that sent shivers down his spine. With a cry of terror, Mark turned and fled, racing back to his seat and praying for the nightmare to end. But as the train pulled into the next station, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had left something behind, something dark and malevolent that would haunt him for the rest of his days. 4. The Vanishing Hitchhiker. It was a chilly autumn evening when Alex embarked on a solo road trip across the countryside. As he drove along the winding roads, his headlights cutting through the darkness, he spotted a figure standing by the side of the road, a young woman with a haunted expression, her thumb extended in a silent plea for a ride. Ignoring the unease gnawing at his gut, Alex pulled over and offered the woman a lift. She climbed into the passenger seat without a word, her eyes fixed straight ahead as if lost in thought. As they drove on in silence, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about the woman. She seemed distant, disconnected from the world around her. When they reached the next town, Alex turned to the woman to ask where she wanted to be dropped off. But to his horror, she had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only the faint scent of lavender in the air. 5. The Haunted Hotel Room. Sarah had booked a room at a quaint bed and breakfast nestled in the heart of a picturesque town. But as she settled in for the night, she couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't alone. Strange noises echoed through the room, a soft tapping on the window, a creaking floorboard in the hallway. But when Sarah ventured out to investigate, she found nothing amiss. As the night wore on, the noises grew louder and more persistent, until Sarah could bear it no longer. She fled the room in terror, vowing never to return to that cursed hotel. 6. The mysterious stranger. John was backpacking through Europe when he encountered a mysterious stranger on a deserted train platform. The man, dressed in outdated clothing, seemed to materialize out of thin air, his eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light. Despite his instincts screaming at him to flee, John struck up a conversation with the stranger, who regaled him with tales of the supernatural and the unexplained. But as the train approached, the stranger's demeanor changed, his eyes darkening with malice. With a jolt of fear, John realized that he was in the presence of something not quite human. In a panic, he fled the platform, his heart pounding in his chest as he prayed to escape the clutches of the mysterious stranger. 7. The eerie road trip. Tom and his friends set out on a road trip to explore the countryside. But their journey took a sinister turn when they stumbled upon an abandoned town shrouded in fog. As they explored the desolate streets, they were overcome by a sense of dread, as if the town itself was watching them with malevolent intent. But when they tried to leave, they found themselves trapped in a maze of winding roads that seemed to lead nowhere. As night fell and the fog thickened, they heard eerie whispers in the darkness, urging them to stay and become part of the town's haunted history. Terrified, they raced back to their car and fled into the night, vowing never to return to that cursed place. If you liked this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up. Leave a comment and click the button to subscribe.